Marcus Sterling had everything money could buy. The penthouse apartment overlooking the glittering skyline of downtown Denver. The fleet of luxury cars. The designer suits that cost more than most people's monthly salary. At 35, he was the CEO of Sterling Financial, a company he'd built from nothing into a multi-million-dollar empire. Yet, as he stood in his floor-to-ceiling windows that December morning, watching the snow blanket the city below, he felt emptier than the hollow space between his ribs. The irony wasn't lost on him. His name was literally Sterling Precious. Valuable, but he'd never felt more worthless. It was Christmas Eve, and instead of celebrating, Marcus was preparing for another day at the office. Success had become his prison, and he was both the warden and the inmate. His reflection in the glass showed a man who had gained the world but lost his soul somewhere in the pursuit. The elevator to his private parking garage was broken, a rare malfunction in his luxury building. Forced to take the stairs, Marcus descended into a part of the building he'd never seen before. The basement level led to a back alley exit, and as he pushed through the heavy door, the bitter December wind hit him like a slap of reality. That's when he saw her. An elderly woman sat huddled against the building's brick wall, her thin coat no match for the harsh Colorado winter. Her weathered hands clutched a cardboard sign that simply read, "Hungry. God bless." What struck Marcus was on her circumstances. He passed countless homeless people in his Bentley without a second glance. It was her eyes. Despite everything, they held a warmth that his heated penthouse had never provided. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly as he walked past. "I don't mean to bother you, but do you happen to have any spare change for breakfast?" Marcus paused, his Italian leather shoes crunching in the snow. For the first time in years, he really looked at another human being. Her name tag, barely visible on her coat, read Dorothy, Denver Community Kitchen Volunteer. "You volunteer at a soup kitchen?" he asked, surprised. Dorothy's face lit up with a smile that could have powered the city's Christmas lights. "Oh yes, every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 15 years. Best days of my week, helping serve meals to folks who need them. It makes you realize how much we all have to be grateful for." Marcus felt something crack inside his chest, not breaking, but opening. Here was a woman who had nothing, yet gave everything she could. Here he was, with everything, yet he'd never given anything that truly mattered. Without thinking, Marcus pulled out his wallet. But instead of offering spare change, he handed Dorothy $500 bills. "Sir, this is too much. I can't, please." Marcus interrupted, his voice catching. "Use it for whatever you need. And could you tell me more about this community kitchen?" Dorothy's eyes filled with tears, but her smile never wavered. "The Denver Community Kitchen feeds about 200 people every day. We're always short on volunteers and supplies. But the love we share there, it's worth more than gold." That afternoon, instead of reviewing quarterly reports, Marcus found himself at the Denver Community Kitchen. The building was humble, peeling paint, worn floors, mismatched tables and chairs. But the moment he walked in, he felt something he hadn't experienced in his luxury offices. Genuine warmth. The director, Maria Santos, was initially skeptical when this man in a $3,000 suit offered to help. But Marcus rolled up his sleeves, put on an apron, and began serving meals alongside Dorothy. He listened to stories from people who'd lost jobs, homes, hope. He met veterans, single mothers, elderly folks living on fixed incomes, and young people aging out of foster care. Each story chipped away at the walls he'd built around his heart. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about James, a former construction worker who'd lost his job due to injury and now lived in his car. About Sarah, a single mother of 3 who worked 2 part-time jobs but still couldn't make ends meet. About Thomas, a veteran struggling with PTSD who found solace in the community kitchen's welcoming atmosphere. The next morning, Christmas Day, Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He called Maria Santos. "I want to help," he said simply. "Not just with money, though I'll provide that too. I want to really help. Over the next month, something extraordinary began to happen. Marcus didn't just write checks, though he did that too, paying for new equipment, supplies, and building renovations. He showed up. Every Tuesday and Thursday, the CEO of Sterling Financial could be found serving meals, washing dishes, and more importantly, listening to stories. But Marcus's transformation inspired something even more beautiful. Dorothy, despite her own struggles, started organizing other volunteers to visit nursing homes on weekends, bringing not just meals, but companionship to elderly residents who rarely had visitors. She called it spreading Sunshine Sundays. James, the injured construction worker, used his skills to help repair and improve the community kitchen's facilities. When Marcus offered to pay him, James refused. "This is my way of giving back," he said. "I may not have money, but I have these hands and experience." Sarah, the single mother, began organizing childcare during volunteer shifts, allowing other parents to help out. She created a small library corner where kids could read while their parents volunteered. Thomas, the veteran, found purpose in organizing food drives and recruitment efforts. His military leadership skills perfectly suited for logistics and coordination. Word of the transformed community kitchen spread throughout Denver. Local news covered the story of the CEO who found his heart in a soup kitchen. But instead of focusing on Marcus, the coverage highlighted the incredible volunteers and the people they served. The ripple effects were extraordinary. Local businesses, inspired by Marcus's example, began partnering with the kitchen. The fancy restaurant down the street donated surplus food. The grocery chain provided weekly supplies. The local university's culinary students started offering cooking classes for both volunteers and community members. But the real magic happened in the connections being forged. Marcus hired 3 community kitchen regulars for entry-level positions at Sterling Financial, providing them with steady income and health insurance. But more than that, he restructured his company's culture to emphasize community service. Every Sterling Financial employee now volunteered for hours monthly at local charities. Dorothy, no longer homeless thanks to Marcus's help finding her affordable housing, became the community kitchen's official Sunshine Ambassador, her infectious positivity becoming legendary throughout the city. The Denver Community Kitchen expanded from serving 200 people daily to 500, but numbers only told part of the story. The real transformation was in the community being built, not just fed. A year later, as Marcus stood in the same alley where he'd first met Dorothy, he marveled at the change. The space had been converted into a beautiful community garden, tended by volunteers and providing fresh vegetables for the kitchen. A small plaque near the entrance read, "In memory of the day, kindness conquered emptiness." Dorothy found him there, her face glowing with health and happiness in her new volunteer coordinator role. "You know what the most beautiful part is?" she said, looking around at the thriving garden and the steady stream of volunteers entering the kitchen. "What's that?" Marcus asked. "You think you saved us?" Dorothy smiled, her eyes twinkling with that same warmth that had first stopped him in his tracks. "But really, we all saved each other." That evening, as Marcus returned to his penthouse, he carried with him something worth more than all his financial success combined. The knowledge that true wealth is unmeasured in dollars, but in the lives we touch and the communities we build together. The golden thread of kindness, once pulled, had woven itself through an entire city, creating a tapestry of hope, connection, and love that would endure long after any material fortune had faded away. And it all started with one man who learned that the poorest person isn't the one without money. It's the one without compassion. Like and subscribe for more videos.